So I went to this year's Sim Racing Expo in Dortmund. I know, I'm late to the party. It's been more than a week since the expo is over, and pretty much every other content creator covered everything you could have experienced over there. But you know, in this video, I'm just going to be talking a little about my experience as a first-time visitor, so you can judge if it's something for yourself to consider attending to. And since I'm German, I can't tell what the visiting Germany for the first time experience is like, but as far as I can tell, traveling to Dortmund all across the country via the Autobahn sums it up rather well. First of all, you're being charged €1 for public restrooms in motorway service areas. You can go ridiculously fast in Germany. And you can actually barely go fast since there's so many construction sites all over the place. Arriving at the Dortmund Messe, my first actual impression was something like, how cool is that? I'm really not alone with my crazy little hobby here. We arrived there on Saturday, which is probably the most crowded day to arrive at the expo, but I was really amazed to see that there were so many people who actually share the same passion as me and you, which was just awesome to experience. In case you're planning to go there in the upcoming years, and if you want to maximize the amount of products you want to try out, I've heard it's best to come by on the last day of the expo, which is mostly going to be Sunday, since it's actually a lot less filled and you don't have to line up everywhere. Saturday is definitely going to be the most crowded day. If you really want to make sure not to miss anything, just visit on 2 days and you'll probably cover everything there is. And this takes me directly to the next reason why you should come and visit the expo. You can actually try things hands-on. And whether that might be trying a whole new product that you've been waiting for or trying things you're unsure about, you can absolutely give it a go here. Especially more exotic things like motion rigs are present all over the place. On average, almost every booth has a motion rig available. So if you always wanted to find out if spending like 10 grand on motion actuators is your thing, spend the money to travel to the expo, it's gonna be worth it. The same applies for things like active pedals. I'm really eager to see next year's lineup once SimiCube isn't the only contender anymore. But not only motion systems are interesting to try, of course, I guess the expo is also a really great place to spark your creativity regarding your own future SimRig plans. You've never sat in a bucket seat before? Well, there might be at least one single model you can try out, trust me. You're unsure about getting triples? Undoubtedly, you can find a rig to try it. You want to compare brand XYZ to brand ABC directly? You name it. We all know that sim racing hardware is expensive and many of us really have to consider one purchase over another, and that is maybe why the expo is, I'd say, is a good investment in your future upgrading plans. Also, it might help you in completely revamping your plans when you see all the crazy options we have nowadays in building our perfect racing simulator. You always wanted to go for triples, but maybe here you'll find out that a single ultra-wide monitor will do much better for you personally. It's a place for getting inspired, that's for sure. Also, you can get in touch with others, having a chat about their setup while waiting in line. You know, exchanging experiences is just so important in sim racing. And then there are wheels. So many wheels to choose from. Granted, you can afford them or sell one of your kidneys, I don't know. Next to having a good rig and wheelbase, or whatever might be your personally most important piece of equipment, the wheel ultimately connects us to the sim, and if there is any place on earth to find out what your preference in sim racing wheels is, again, visit the expo. Some wheels do cost a fortune, and even if every single review on YouTube for a single steering wheel recommends it, maybe it doesn't fit your hands, maybe you didn't like the way the buttons feel, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I'd be so annoyed to having spent like 2 grand on a single steering wheel when I hated every single up and down shift later on. And this was exactly my experience, to be honest. Some wheels had really good reviews and everything was right about them, but on one of them the rotaries felt super cheap to me and the other one was perfect, but the shifters gave me a feeling of falling apart somewhere in the next 10 triggers or something like that. Okay, I'm exaggerating. I think no manufacturer who was present had the intention of showcasing cheap products, but you get the idea of what I mean. Many products can only be judged subjectively, and if you plan to make a large investment in a steering wheel or to compare it directly to another contender, go and check it out there directly. If you're unsure whether your favorite product is going to be present, you can always try and reach out to the manufacturers via mail or social media beforehand. And that is what I also like a lot about the sim racing community. Even though it might still be a niche, it is an incredibly well-developed niche full of passionate manufacturers. You can get in touch with them here and talk to them. Everyone is really approachable and can answer any questions you might have. We don't have that as much in other hobbies and industries anymore because the people who actually develop the products are often not the ones who are present at the exhibitions. And the same applies to the YouTube personalities, which you can also meet and greet here, which was one of my personal highlights. You know, these are the people who entertain us, who give us advice whether products are good or not, and so on. It's just kind of weird to meet them because it feels like you already know them for some time and you finally have the chance just to say hi. So if you ever see me there, just say hi. I won't bite, I promise. What's super refreshing to see is that there was a great variety of people in general. They had quite a large women's area where only women can try out all the rigs in all calmness, and still lots of women also tried the other rigs around, which shows that the community is growing a lot, and even though it's still a pretty male-dominant hobby, it gets more and more attention all around, which I like. There were also many families with kids, and there's lots to try for them as well. I've also seen families with much younger kids, but I wouldn't recommend going there with children younger than maybe like 7 years of age. Since it's really loud in general, there's lots of stuff going on, and they even fire up real race cars there, which is crazy loud. And even if you might not be into real-world racing, you get to experience the foundation that brought us this wonderful hobby, real race cars. Roughly a quarter of my whole video footage consists of race car b-roll, and when being there, you probably understand me a little bit better. You know, just smelling that mixture of tires, engine oil and fuel when standing close to these machines is so incredibly exciting for people that are into race cars, which most likely a lot of sim racers are gonna be. You can actually take a seat in some of these cars to get a feeling of how you're sitting in one of these things, which again maybe sparks your creativity in how you want to shape your own sim rig at home. I could go on and on for a long time how polished yet gritty these beautiful machines rest there and all of their grace, but you know, we can talk about that in person when we meet there next year. So whether you're a real-world race driver who wants to get into sim racing, or if you just started out with your very first wheel mounted to a desk looking for inspiration how to advance in your sim racing journey, or if you want to convince yourself that you're not alone with your maybe niche hobby and connect to the thousands of other great people that make this community grow each and every day, the Sim Racing Expo won't let you down. And that being said, thank you all very much for watching. I'd be happy if you'd leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And I hope we'll meet us there next year. Until then, bye.